Hello, Lansing. Do you know all the candidates running for city offices this year? You'll meet some of them now. I sent an invitation to all those running, and here are the brave souls who responded. The primary election is on August 5th, and the general will be November 4th. So get your voting shoes and listen up. Who do you want to be your voice on council? Hello, and welcome to a special candidates episode of What Lansing Council. What's this about? This year, we have city elections, a primary on August 5th, and November 4th will be the general election. Up for election this year in the city is the mayor, 2 at-large council members, the 4th ward councilor, that's the northwest and downtown area, and the 2nd ward councilor, the area to the southeast in Lansing, as well as the city clerk. For the primary, only 2 from each race will make it to the general. For the at-large, 2 seats are open, so 4 folks will move forward. The clerk in the 2nd ward races did not have that many folks sign up, so everybody who did sign up to run for those races will automatically make it through to the November election. So great for them. How can you vote for your council members? You can do it in person on the day of the election. Again, that will be August 5th at your precinct polling location. Be sure to double check where that is. It may have changed. You can vote early in person at the clerk's office at 1221 Rio Road on Wednesday, July 30th, Saturday, August 2nd, or Sunday the 3rd. You can also vote through the mail 40 days before the election. That'll be the end of June. The ballots will be mailed out, and 1/4 of all Lansing voters, that's about 23,000 folks out of Lansing's 87,000 who are registered voters, are on the permanent absentee voter list. Is that you? If not, you can register to be added or removed from the list at any time. Absentee ballots must be mailed back in time to get to the clerk's office by the election day. And you can do that through the United States Postal Service free of charge, or drop them off at one of the drop boxes around the city. And those are at community centers, fire stations, and City Hall. You can also go into either the Rio Road office, 1221 Rio Road, or City Hall, and get an absentee ballot, and then you'll be good to go. So only about 10 to 13,000 folks vote in these primary elections. So your vote really does count a lot. Also, there's a parks millage on the ballot for this election only. So I emailed all the candidates, and here's what I said. Hey, please participate in my cool podcast. I'll give you 3 minutes. That's the length of a public comment at council, and you can say whatever you want. You can use this time however you want, or you can answer my 3 questions. And those were, what's a small problem that affects Lansing residents, and what's your solution? Second, what Lansing issue have you changed your mind on, and what changed it? And third, what's your favorite performance or event you've been to in Lansing? It's got to have a little softball question in there. So you will hear this between each candidate. And you'll hear this between each race. We're going to start with our at-large council candidates. We've got 7 out of 10 for you to hear today. Those are Nick Pigeon, Olivia Vaden, Jonah Stone, Tristan Walters, Julie Vandenboom, Clara Martinez, and Miles Biel.
Hi there. My name's Nick Pigeon. I'm running for Lansing City Council at large, and I live here on the east side. First off, I just want to thank Jill for creating this awesome resource for people to stay involved and current on what's going on down at City Hall. And a little bit about me. I'm the former executive director of the Michigan Campaign Finance Network, which is Michigan's preeminent advocate for transparency and a resource for campaign finance related news. I was also a former policy fellow at the Institute for Public Policy and Social Research, where I did different projects. One of them was about the redistricting project we had in 2020. And I've also run campaigns up and down the ballot across Michigan. I decided to run because I'm concerned about the future of Lansing. When I decided to buy my first home, I knew it was going to be in the city because I really love Lansing's rich sense of community and all the niche groups and activities that go on here. But it can be difficult to live in Lansing and interact with the city. I've been talking to people across Lansing door to door since January, and many people feel left behind. Their property taxes and their rent keep going up, but we get much less city services than those around us. I've spoken to sons who can't take their elderly mothers on a walk in their neighborhood or they'll break a hip. I've spoken to taxpayers who have to mail the tax office proof of payment multiple times and still get threatening letters talking of fines. I've spoken to pet owners who aren't alerted that the city is coming into the yard for gas line work and their dog escapes. My goal is for people to want to stay in the city and for us to grow since we have so much to offer, from art, sports, and music, and amazing restaurants and businesses. If we make it easier for people to deal with the city and receive services, I think people want to move here and stay. So what's a small problem that affects Lansing residents, and what's my solution? For instance, when I was on the west side neighborhood, a lot of them are getting a lot of work done to split their sewers, and there's no way for the city to email or text them when they're going to be digging up and doing work in the neighborhood. I think if we make it, have actual systems to automatically alert these people and let them know what's happening, that would ease a lot of concerns and frustration people have with the city. What Lansing issue have you changed your mind on, and what changed it? I think at first there was some frustration with some roads having no parking on one side, being pretty small. I think that actually can help with the flow of traffic, and it's not so bad when you get used to it. What's your favorite performance or event you've been to in Lansing? Personally, I love Lansing's music scene. I'm a guitar player myself and play at Moriarty's. I love Jazz Tuesdays at Moriarty's. There's great shows at the Green Door, Stober's, Max Bar. We have a lot of great local arts and local music going on in the city. And if you haven't gone to one of those places, I would definitely recommend it. But thank you.
Hi. I'm Olivia Vaden. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm running to be your next at-large council member because I believe in a new kind of leadership, one that's rooted in people and ready for real change. I'm not running to play politics. I'm running to build a Lansing that works for everyone. I love this city, the people, the neighborhoods, the deep sense of community that you can feel in the furthest pockets of the city. Two of my favorite events that really capture that spirit are Jazz Fest and the South Lansing Farmers Market. Spaces that bring us together, celebrate local culture, and remind me of what's possible when we invest in community. I believe Lansing can be a place where everyone is truly thriving, not just getting by. And we deserve leadership that believes in that possibility and is ready to fight for it. Over the past months, I've had the privilege of talking with neighbors all across Lansing. The stories I've heard are real, powerful, and sometimes hard. Too many people are stretched thin. Rising rents and utility costs are forcing tough choices. Public safety feels uneven. Youth programs need more support. And small businesses are working hard to stay afloat. Many residents feel shut out of the decisions that affect their daily lives. But, what still gives me hope and what drives me to run is the fire I see in our community. There's a hunger for change, a readiness to do the work. People are ready to be heard, ready to lead, ready for change. And no one's asking for shortcuts. They're asking for a city that sees them, serves them, and stands with them. That means fighting for affordable housing and protecting renters from neglectful landlords. It means making our neighborhoods safer in ways that are inclusive and community-led. It means investing in the youth, local small businesses, and in keeping our air and water clean, not just investing in big developers or short-term fixes. It means building a Lansing that's walkable, equitable, and climate resilient. I believe city government should be transparent, accountable, and radically accessible. I believe the job isn't to maintain the status quo, but to create a city where everyone, no matter their neighborhood, has the chance to thrive. This campaign is about the people who are already doing the work in our communities every single day. I'm here to listen, to learn, and to lead with integrity, compassion, and bold action. I'm Olivia Vaden, and I'm running for City Council at large to help build a Lansing where we can all live, grow, and belong. I hope to earn your support in August so we can work together and build a better Lansing that works for all of us.
Hello, my name is Jonah Stone, and I'm running to be your at-large city council member. First of all, I'm not a politician. I am a scientist. I look at problems as though they are questions to be answered. Lansing needs real solutions to problems of housing availability, food insecurity, and park maintenance. Well, I live in Rio Town. I pass by an abandoned, unlivable apartment building every single day. Each time I pass by, I think how awful it is that a building with so much space and so many apartments is left broken down by its owners and red tagged for so long, since 2019. That one building, though, is just a small part of the housing problems that are faced by Lansing residents. Too many people in Lansing are homeless, too many people are hurt by predatory landlords, and too many people can't afford to buy their own houses because rent is so high. As a scientist, I see these problems that have real solutions. We need to make more temporary housing available, hold landlords accountable, and lower rents by banning price fixing. And I want to encourage more affordable housing developments like the residences at Walter French. I was asked for this what is a small problem that affects Lansing residents, and I immediately thought of our river trail. While not small in the least, there are small improvements that can be done to the trail. I would love to put in more water stations for thirsty people and their animals. I would like to partner with artists in the community to paint and beautify our bridges and our infrastructure. And honestly, I would like to put in more trash cans. It's a small thing, but it really helps. I think that if we do these things, we can help the best parts of Lansing, which are our public land, trails, and parks. I was also asked, what is a Lansing issue that I've changed my mind on? And honestly, it's parking. I once thought that parking in a downtown area needed to be paid to free up new visitors, but for Lansing, I think parking needs to be free downtown. Free parking will allow people to visit small businesses that need customers and encourage people to explore downtown without worrying about their parking expiring. I was also asked what is my favorite performance or event I've been to in Lansing, and I got to talk about the festivals that go on all summer long in Lansing. Juneteenth in Rio Town and the Juneteenth celebration in St. Joseph Park are amazing, great food. Pride in Old Town, Unity of the Community at Hawk Island, and the Lansing Fiesta at Adado Park are some of my favorites. I love all the performances and how they support local Lansing businesses. To close, I would say I love living in Lansing, and I want to solve problems that we face as a community. My name is Jonah Stone, and please vote on August 5th.
Hello, my name is Tristan Walters. I'm a candidate for Lansing City Council at large this year. The first question, what's a small problem that affects Lansing residents, and what's your solution? I really think making sure our neighborhoods are better connected. After COVID, a lot of neighborhood organizations shut down. We're in a ton of activities to bring people together, to bring communities together. I'd love to see some more funding for Neighborhood Advisory Board grants. I currently serve as vice chair of the Neighborhood Advisory Board for the city of Lansing. We had some fewer funds this year to give grants out, so I'd love to see that amount increase so we can really bring neighborhoods together, fund projects that are going to really bolster our communities, bring everyone together and move Lansing forward and really make it a place that's great to live, to work, to visit, and really to thrive moving forward. What Lansing issue have I changed my mind about? I would definitely say traffic calming measures. I'm someone who always hated the speed bumps, didn't like when the stoplights would catch you at every single one. As the speeding issues have really taken a hold, I've really noticed that these are things that help a whole lot. These are instances that make it safer, that really slow traffic down, make it a better place to drive, make it a better place to commute on bikes, through any other pedestrian modes, and while you're in a car. Those are things that are definitely for the better, that I've changed my mind completely about, and would love to see some additional traffic calming measures. I know a lot of neighborhoods want speed bumps. I know that a lot of people have had issues with the racing problems, with the increase in speed, with passing in the turn lanes. All those things, I think funding for speed calming measures would be great for the city of Lansing on those. Favorite performance of mine or event that I've been to in Lansing? There are a whole lot of great events. I don't want to single any specifics out, but I know that I always enjoy the concerts in the park. I'm an at-large member of the Lansing Park Board, so I've attended almost every single concert in the park over the last few years that I've been on the board. Those are always great shows. A specific favorite from there is always the Lansing Symphony Orchestra. If you're in and around Lansing on Wednesday, starting next week on 6/11, the Concert in the Park series is going to begin again. That'll run from 6/11 through 8/6. And then once again, the Lansing Symphony Orchestra received a grant this year to allow them to play for the Concert in the Park series again. Please make it out to that show on August 6th. Make sure to get out and vote on August 5th. This can be your celebration after voting, is going and enjoying the Lansing Symphony Orchestra on the Wednesday after. So make sure to keep an eye out. Great things are happening in Lansing. There's a whole lot of movement going forward that's exciting. I'd love to be able to help where I can. Serving on the Neighborhood Advisory Board and Park Board, I've had a real opportunity to see all the great things that are happening in Lansing. I've tried to help wherever I could in those avenues, and I'm running for city council to really try and bridge the gap with even more departments, with even more citizens, and to try and do as much good as I can and to help wherever I can in this role. Thank you to Jill for hosting this, and make sure to get out and vote.
Hi friends, Julie Vandenboom here. I'm running for one of the at-large city council seats here in Lansing. I've lived in the Lansing area my entire adult life. I graduated from Waverly High School in 1992, got my bachelor's and master's degrees at Michigan State, and 25 years ago I moved into the city itself. My son came up through the Lansing School District, and he graduated from Lansing Eastern in 2019. This city isn't just where I happen to live, it's where I raised my family, it's where I built my community, and it's where I choose to stay. I'm not here to make big promises to you. I'm here because I believe local government should be built on listening, and that right now, too many voices are missing from those conversations. I want a Lansing that makes room for everyone, a Lansing that plans for belonging, a Lansing that plans more than 5 or 10 years ahead, and a Lansing that leads with empathy, respect, and compassion. City Council shapes how our neighborhoods grow. It decides what gets built, who gets supported, and how we invest in safety. Not just through policing and enforcement, but the kind of safety that comes with real community care. Things like affordable housing, safe streets and sidewalks, green spaces, and incremental development. I have 16 years of experience working in state government, focusing on policy analysis, planning and evaluation, and process improvement. I bring that expertise to my work on the boards of the Capital Area District Library and the Eastside Neighborhood Organization, where I've been able to help guide decisions that make a real difference for our community. I'm also deeply involved in efforts to address affordable housing in Lansing, primarily through a tenant union called the Rent is Too Damn High. And I also work with an effort called A Place for Us, which is a new nonprofit that's developing solutions for our unhoused LGBTQ neighbors here in Lansing. The choices we make at the city council level are far-reaching. From zoning laws to affordable housing, the policies we decide on impact our lives in very real ways. It's about shaping the kind of city that we live in and who gets to thrive here. My team has set a goal to knock on 5,000 doors before the primary. We want to hear directly from people, and I don't mean just the loudest voices, but also the voices that are sometimes left out. If this sounds like the kind of city that you want to live in too, I'd love to hear from you. Please visit my website at julievandenboom.com, or you can find me on Facebook at Julie Vandenboom for Lansing City Council. And you can learn more, donate, volunteer, ask for a yard sign, or just hit me up and let me know what you're thinking about. Thanks for listening, and I would be honored to earn your vote on August 5th.
Hi, my name is Clara Martinez, and I'm a candidate for Lansing City Council at large. I am a public school teacher at Everett High School in the Lansing School District. I'm a proud union member, and I am also an advocate for the arts and culture sector here in the greater Lansing area. I'm also a board member for All of the Above Hip Hop Academy. So my 3 main priorities going into this candidacy are safe and healthy neighborhoods, reliable city services, and giving more opportunities for our young people and our kids. So starting with safe and healthy neighborhoods, ensuring that neighbors feel not only safe physically walking down the street of their neighborhood and interacting with people, but also ensuring that we're investing in the infrastructure and the housing stock of our city so that generations to come can be able to enjoy the wonderful place that we live. The second thing is ensuring that we're working with our partners and working with the city as a whole to make sure that we have reliable city resources and that we're able to, staff different departments well and have jobs for people that are going to ensure that we are going to get consistent services for our residents and for our neighbors. And then the third piece is opportunity for our young people. And this is really a passion piece for me as a public school teacher, as someone who's seen so many young people grow up and graduate and, move away and go to other places. I really feel passionate about making sure that they have safe activities to do after school, that they have pre-professional job training opportunities, whether it's in the trades and getting ready for, high-paying union jobs, or if it's going off to college or getting ready to go to community college and discovering what their passions are going to be in higher education. But making sure that we're working together as a community to ensure that no matter what our young people are interested in, they know that they're supported, not only from education-based organizations, but also from the municipality, the city of Lansing, and all of our partners that work together to make opportunities for them. So you can learn more about me at claraforlansing.com. And finally, I would like to say, to answer one of Jill's questions, my favorite performance that I've probably been to in Lansing is the Cap City Jam by All of the Above Hip Hop Academy. They put on every year. It's going to be in the fall, I believe, this September. But they have break dancers from all over the world come and participate in a big jam, and you get to see people compete, and you see some of the most amazing hip hop and the most amazing moves and movers that you've ever seen, and you get to eat great food over at the Lansing Shuffle, and it's just a really fun, warm, creative, and encouraging event, and I would invite anyone to come out to the Shuffle again this year to see what it's all about, and I hope to see you there.
So I'm Miles Biel. I'm running for at-large city council, and I'll preface this with two things. One, I've made a career in energy, specifically energy efficiency programs for state utilities, and I nerd out over this stuff. It makes up a good chunk of my platform. And two, this podcast has been described as a little gossipy, so I'm going to lean into that at the top. Maybe a month ago, I was talking with somebody fairly high up the food chain at the Board of Water and Light. I told them that as a public entity that provides essential services, I think it's a failure that you shut off services to those residents who are falling behind on their bills, and that I'd work to end that policy if elected. They scoffed so hard at this idea that I thought they were going to pull a muscle. Their retort was something along the lines of, "But think of the costs." And these concerns about costs are valid insofar that helping people does cost money. What the BWL should be doing to counteract costs is growing their revenue, specifically growing their revenue without creating new cost burdens for their customers. How do they do that? One word: electrification. Most homes in Lansing heat their space and water with gas furnaces and gas water heaters. You don't pay your gas bill to BWL, obviously, but if you replace those gas furnaces and gas water heaters with high-efficient electric appliances, now your total energy bills are about the same, and more if that money's being redirected to BWL. And now's the perfect time to do this, by the way. We're already paying into energy efficiency rebate programs that the BWL offers. We just need them to be recalibrated and redirected to electrify these big home appliances and marketed sufficiently so people know that they're actually out there and that these rebates are available. Additionally, there are now state-level rebates and federal tax credits that can be stacked on top of each other to further offset the cost of this electrification effort. These incentives make the lifetime cost of ownership the same as or less than their gas equivalents. So, big picture, electrification means long-term savings for us, the customers, revenue growth for the BWL to fund all of these do-gooder initiatives like not shutting off people's services. We can further decarbonize our grid. That's great for everybody. And then there's going to be more work for our local electricians and plumbers. Again, everybody wins, but it just takes a lot of hard work. And this is hard work that I think is absolutely worth doing. So if you've heard all that and you're thinking, hey, this guy has some good ideas, you can go to votemilesbeal.org to check out more of my policies, energy and otherwise. Definitely drop me a message, and be sure to get yourself a lawn sign. They're very loud looking.
Thank you, at-large candidates. Next, you will hear from the two Ward 2 candidates, and these folks are going to automatically go to the November election, but it will still be nice to hear from them. and they are Deyanira Nevarez Martinez and Erik Almquist.
I'm Deyanira Nevarez Martinez, and I'm running for Lansing City Council in Ward 2. A small but meaningful issue that affects Lansing residents, but especially those throughout Ward 2 and South Lansing more broadly, is the lack of safe, well-maintained sidewalks and crosswalks. It might seem like a minor concern, especially when we consider some of the major issues our city is currently contending with. But it has a big impact, especially for older adults, people with disabilities, and families with young children. My solution is to prioritize neighborhood infrastructure in our budget and ensure that these investments happen equitably across the city, and especially in neighborhoods that have been historically overlooked, so everyone can move safely throughout our community. I love the question about changing your mind. In politics and in our increasingly polarized society, people often dig their heels in. But as a social scientist, I believe deeply in being open to change. I routinely begin research projects with a hypothesis. But if the data or evidence shows me something different, I don't see that as a failure. I see it as growth. In this context, changing your mind isn't flip-flopping. It's gaining a deeper understanding. So, as a trained urban planner, I've always understood and valued the importance of maintaining safe housing and neighborhoods. But over time, one issue I've come to see differently is code enforcement. As I've done housing research over the last decade, I've come to recognize that strict or punitive code enforcement criminalizes poverty, especially when it targets renters, low-income homeowners, or elders who may not have the means to comply quickly. I believe we need more flexible, compassionate approaches to enforcement. Yes, ones that address safety and health concerns, but that also provide support and time for residents to resolve issues without fear of fines, eviction, or displacement. As for events, my favorite is the Cristo Rey Fiesta. It's such a vibrant celebration that brings our community together. My family and I love the music, the food, the joy that fills the space, and spending time with our neighbors, right here in Ward 2. We're also a baseball family, so we love catching Lugnuts games downtown. There's nothing like it on a summer night in Lansing. Thanks, Jill, for the opportunity to introduce a bit about myself to your listeners, and thanks so much to the audience for listening. I'd be honored to earn your support.
Hello, my name is Erik Almquist, and I'm running for City Council 2nd. I've had previous experience as a City Council member, and I specifically moved here because I'm excited about the potential. I'm running because it's everyone's duty to step up and do something. I'm specifically not taking donations from my campaign because it's really hard to sit in front of someone who's losing where they live and work on a solution and then say, here's their donation link. We are elected as public servants, and I think a lot of times we forget the word servants right there in the job description. And we need to ask ourselves every day, what have we done to make the life better of the people who put us there? It could range from getting a $1 million fresh water main installed at no cost to the citizens to disposing of an abandoned couch. What's a small problem that affects Lansing residents, and what's your solution? One small problem, and maybe it's not small, is the amount of lease signs on buildings along Washington Avenue. Everyone talks about bringing employees back, but what are we bringing them back to? After having dinner at this great new restaurant with great hours and going to designer soap store next door, and then going to listen to music next to a store there, I was so impressed with potential as this was after 6 p.m. and a good crowd. But then moving back a block or two, there was nobody. One shop owner said the one thing we need to do is see people believe that this is going to change, and I believe it is. I love to see vacant windows become art gallery display storefronts, and I love to work with local artisan groups to give people a reason to come down and wander around the stores viewing the art. So to be honest with you, the small issue is not lease signs. The issue is that people do not believe it's going to change, and I think we can show them different. What Lansing issue have you changed your mind on, and what changed it? So as a previous city council member and part of negotiating fire contracts, the city safety budgets are usually the larger part of the budget. That being said, In this case, clawing back what's promised to firefighters who are already retired because an insurance plan is not available is not the fault of the firefighters. They need to be honored for what was negotiated. Firefighters risk their lives every day, and the least we can do is honor them by giving what was promised to them. I welcome any member of the City Council or Mayor's office to go pull hose for a couple hours and see how their body feels next day. Make this plan self-funded. This isn't rocket science. It's not a hard solution, but it requires courage to do it. What's your favorite performance event you've been to in Lansing? I think consistently year after year, going to the Lugnuts game and especially the fireworks around July 4th. More often than not, they match up with the city fireworks and the stadium is standing room only. One year, I distinctly remember an attempted suicide squeeze play in extra innings, and it was one of the most exciting things I've witnessed in person. For one moment, with a standing room crowd and fireworks going off everywhere on that holiday, it was a melting pot of America. Just one people. I wish I could bottle that. Thank you.
Here are our Ward 4 council candidates. We've got 2 out of 3. Heath Lowry and Zacharie Spurlock.
Hello, neighbors. I'm Heath Lowry, an attorney and community advocate running for Lansing City Council because I believe in a new perspective for a new future. Lansing is at a turning point. We need leaders who think differently, act boldly, and work together to build a stronger city for everyone. Thank you, Jill, for hosting this conversation and for providing these thoughtful questions. It was an opportunity to share a little more about why I'm running and the priorities I believe that will make Lansing a better place for all of us. One small, daily problem affecting Lansing residents is sidewalk accessibility and maintenance. Cracked, uneven sidewalks create obstacles for people with mobility challenges, families with strollers, and residents simply trying to walk safely through their neighborhoods. When we neglect basic infrastructure, we make life harder for people who just want to navigate their cities safely. My solution? Prioritize funding to repair sidewalks while working with local businesses and neighborhood associations to expand safe pedestrian pathways. Lansing should be walkable for everyone, regardless of ability or location. An issue I've changed my mind on? Housing density. Like many, I once believed that the best way to address Lansing's housing needs was through traditional single-family developments. But after seeing the numbers, talking to residents, and researching solutions, I now believe we need higher density housing options, not just for the affordability, but also for sustainability and economic growth. Thoughtful zoning reforms can create more housing opportunities while preserving neighborhood character. And we must push for policies that help Lansing grow without pushing people out. My favorite Lansing event, the annual Dance by the River Powwow, held downtown in 2024. It was the first public event I attended with my newborn daughter, and it meant so much to honor our heritage in a local park surrounded by community, culture, and tradition. That day reminded me of the power of bringing people together, of celebrating history, embracing diversity, and sharing traditions that unite us. Our city thrives when we honor where we came from while creating a future that welcomes everyone. But building a future takes leadership. Leadership that listens, takes action, and refuses to accept business as usual. Lansing deserves a city council member who shows up, who fights for residents, and who isn't afraid to challenge the status quo. I'm ready to bring that leadership to City Hall. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Jill, again for hosting this discussion, and I hope I've earned your support.
Hello, my name is Zacharie Spurlock, and I'm running to represent Ward 4 on Lansing City Council. I'm running a campaign that puts a heavy focus on the communities of Ward 4, alongside with revitalization efforts of the downtown district. One of the pledges that I've made that I'm very proud of would be my commitment to holding at minimum 2 meetings with constituents each month, at times accessible to all. Another one that I think will help Ward 4 immensely would be my pledge to donate 20% of my city council member's salary directly back to Ward 4 via a system of grants. 20% equals out to roughly $5,500 per year, which, split between neighborhood associations, community gardens, and cultural hubs, would be an amazing boon to Ward 4. A small problem that affects Lansing residents would be the accessibility to public officials via phone calls. Just last week, I posted about my experience calling the city's HR and finance departments, and how one line was unfortunately a dead number, and the other led me directly to a mailbox that was full. I noted that this wasn't an issue that's new, and that it's something somewhat minor, but I questioned how long these numbers had been inaccessible to the residents who realistically pay to keep those lines open. A solution that I presented would be working with the rest of the council and the mayor's office to submit a quarterly quote-unquote spring cleaning of these numbers and mailboxes to maintain their accessibility to all residents. In my opinion, easy fixes to frustrating problems should be on every city employee's radar, not just during election years, but always. An issue that's unique to Lansing that I've noted and I've had my perception changed on would be the ongoing conflict of the downtown district, specifically speaking on Downtown Lansing Inc. and small businesses. While I've been to plenty of Downtown Lansing Inc.'s events that I've enjoyed, I've spoken to a handful of small business owners who are in favor of an official downtown authority instead. I have a Q&A event coming up on the 9th of June with downtown district business owners to discuss their ongoing thoughts. I strive to be a candidate, and hopefully representative, who doesn't speak on my own interests alone, but using my voice to funnel my constituents' voices up to the city council, mayor, and beyond. On a more lighthearted note, one of my favorite performances that I've seen in Lansing was actually just last year at Greywall Hall. It was for a band that I've been following for around 10 years called Mystery Skulls. As somebody who enjoys going to Chicago frequently, I really enjoy the atmosphere of Greywall Hall. It's kind of like a little slice of the Windy City got plopped down right on Washington Square. I do want to say thank you to Jill for inviting me to do this, and please feel free to follow me on my Instagram or Blue Sky account. Both of those are at Spurlock for Lansing. And thank you for your time. I can't wait to see everybody at the primaries on August 5th. Thank you.
And last but not least, for your listening pleasure, we've got 2 out of the 5 mayoral candidates. Those are Brett Brockschmidt and David Ellis.
I am Brett Brockschmidt. I am running for mayor. I'm running for mayor because of the high property taxes we are paying, which lead to higher rents, and that we are not receiving the services nor the infrastructure repairs that kind of tax rate would warrant. I hope to return to basics and cut the fluffy stuff out of the budget, trim the fat, and improve the city for everybody, not just the rich or the middle class. A small problem that's more important than one thinks is that downtown, near the city and state buildings that handicapped people need access to, there are few to none reserved handicap spots. There are handicapped parking rates, but if handicapped people have to park 2 blocks from the building they need to access, that is of no help to them. As mayor, I would be reserving more handicapped spots near those buildings so that they can have access. This becomes even more important as the boomers start aging and will be needing these services. The one thing I've changed my mind about is I know we needed new sidewalks, new roads, and I thought we needed more fire department and police department and forestry officers, but came to realize that we are actually budgeting for them. The city thinks they're being paid for, but at the end of the budget is a vacancy factor line item for $1.5 million, which makes it clear that Andy Shore and the council have no intention whatsoever of filling that $1.5 million worth of jobs, and are instead using that money for their favorite pet projects and development staff to make sure that large buildings are built for Shore's developer donors. I'm sorry to say that I do not have a favorite performance or event that I've been to in Lansing. mainly because we don't have a performance center yet. The one good thing that Andy Shore has done is we are building a performance space, the Ovation, near the city center, which will bring more people downtown. I will say that one thing that I really love is the Shuffle, which is a large public space next to the river and is quite lovely. And that is the closest thing I've come to. You can find out more about me and my positions on my website, abretterlansing.com. Thank you.
Hi, my name is David Ellis, and I am running for the office of Mayor of Lansing. So in the city of Lansing, there are quite a few things we could be improving, but I think a lot of it seems to stem from this general sort of malaise we get from a lot of our elected officials. There are plenty of simple issues in this city that where easy first steps can be taken or the process can be started of fixing these issues, but then there's just the action does not happen. I don't like to say this, but it seems like much of it purely comes down from a fear of changing anything. There's this fear that we are sort of running on a razor's edge in the city as is on a lot of issues, but we haven't gone off the deep end yet. So while changes could improve things, changes might also make things worse. So we're just not going to touch it. We're going to leave it as is and hope that no one notices we're not doing anything. I'm not afraid to make any changes. Obviously, there's always a risk of things going sour, but if things go sour, you need to have a back door where you can go right back to where you are, which isn't hard. That's a very simple thing to do. So as mayor, I would be absolutely more active in pursuing changes and fixing things like our issues with schools and getting more funding for teachers, to pedestrian and bike safety, to road safety with vehicle crashes and road funding. And a major issue I want to tackle is our outsourcing of city work to contractors. So contractors in the city do make sense in certain circumstances. There are some times where there's just not there's not a demand large enough for us to always have a certain type of vehicle on hand, for example, year round. So that can be contracted out and shared with our communities. But no, largely many of the things we've seen contracted out from the city end up being more like selling your car to get that small singular boost of cash and then leasing, which will cost you more in the long run. The fact that we have over 100 parks but contract out so much of our lawn mowing, for example, is an issue. The fact that we have over 400 lane miles of road, I believe, and we contract out so much of our road repair, that is quite obviously an issue. We are paying more for someone else to do the job when we used to pay for our own people to do the job. And like I said, this all stems from a mayor in previous times, decades ago even, deciding if I cut this from the budget, this will look good on my record as a singular influx of cash that we are no longer paying for, but we pay for it in the long run. We need someone who will actually look at the city's financials long term and make a plan for those. And that is why I believe you should vote for me, David Ellis, to be the mayor of Lansing. Thank you.
Wow, so many great candidates. Thanks everyone for listening, and thanks to the candidates who participated. And thank you to the Public Media Center for your patience and support. If you want to learn more about the candidates, I know Michael and Erica Lynn of the 22 Life podcast plan to do a profile on each candidate. The City Pulse has already published a small blurb about each person, and I bet they will do more. There will be neighborhood forums for the next few months in person. Also, the Lansing State Journal and the League of Women's Voters I found to be great resources. One more thing. If you're looking for a fun Lansing activity to do this month, you can check out the Lansing Bike and Seek. This is a bicycle treasure hunt around the city. It is 10 miles long, and there are 8 clues you must solve along the way. It will take you about 2.5 hours. And one clue is about City Council. Please check it out at bikeandseek.org. Next week, we'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming with council meeting recaps and special guest Ryan Cost. 1st Ward Council Member and current Council President.